Disney is adding chemtrails to old films.
Is a fact?
Hold on.
Well, and you can see it in that picture right there. That's from the movie Cars.
That's a newer movie, but apparently they're going back. There was this
chemtrails up in
guy.
the sky there.
Chemtrails, they've been popping up in TV shows and movies for a while now because they're a part of our world now.
Yeah.
But this is a little bit of a newer phenomena.
Okay.
And so there's this gentleman that was speaking at a German medical conference, and he was saying how one of his patients got paid to edit the films.
Okay, go for it.
So let's play the clip.
My clients, one of my patients, is a producer in Hollywood. 2 years ago, he received a task from Disney to go over and edit all the old Disney movies to put into the scenes of the sky these stripes. Then, for example, people say today, well, Klinger, you're talking about these stripes being formed on the sky today only as of late, then they will say, look at this movie here from 1954. There are the same stripes at the sky. And then convince people that the stripes are a natural phenomena. My patient received for this job $60 million.
$60 million
$60
to
million.
put chemtrails in older movies to get people used to it. Like they've always been here. You guys aren't conspiracy theory.
Exactly.
Wow. That's
So
pretty gangster.
this clip has been scraped from online. Like it's actually you can't.
Which
find
one?
it.
The one that you just showed
The
us?
one that we just watched. Now I cut it up because he speaks in German, and then
An English translator.
Yes.
That's perfect. Thank you.
So
when was that video was on VHS? I mean that was a recording, not
yeah.
a digital. So
it's old. So this was back in the early 2000s and 90s.
Okay.
And
way back in the day.
right, way back in the day.
Oh, you child.
What year were you born, Daniel?
79. I was born.
I was 178.
99.
99.
So upon research, if you look up chemtrails on Google, you can't find anything.
Nothing.
It's all like how chemtrails are a big conspiracy. Yeah. But I did notice this in the Disney intro. Coincidence?
Let me see that. Can we pop that?
Pop it up. Pull up the clip.
Is that fairy dust? Wait.
Hold on. What is that?
What is
that?
Hold on.
It's a shooting star, of course.
Take it back. Hold on. Oh!
Does it stay there? Wait, is that fairy dust or is that chemtrail?
It's a chemtrail.
Okay.
That's my theory.
I think so.
All right. So
Wouldn't put it past Disney to.
Yeah.
I want to ask you guys, do you guys think chemtrails are real or no?
I do.
You do?
Well, chemtrails, I think, is another word for cloud seeding, right?
Well, no, I think, the stuff that's coming out of airplanes, I think they're saying it's aluminum oxide, which it reflects. That's why you keep seeing it. Because, bro, a mist, once a plane goes by, it should evaporate in the atmosphere.
Well,
but they stay there for a long time. I know a pilot for a pretty big airline, and he's like, dude, there's stuff. If you just think about it, what's in the gasoline? Regardless of what the hell you think, that stuff is coming into our freaking lungs and we're breathing it. And for it to stay up there that long, I believe that they're spraying stuff in the atmosphere. That's me.
The idea behind chemtrails is they are dumping chemicals in the air that poison us. I'm not shocked. They poison the food. They poison everything.
water.
It's an attack from all angles.
Yeah, what do you think, Connor?
Yeah, I mean, you can't deny they're up there.
I see them.
The question of what they are is really the
Yeah.
issue. Some people say, oh, it's just, as the plane emits things, they condense into a solid in the frigid atmosphere up there.
Yeah.
And then, eventually they drift away. But that doesn't explain why these things hold together. For you'll see a plane go by and the trail stays for the next day and a half.
Yeah.
That's not how that works.
And then everybody in that neighborhood's
they
angry and trying to kill each other.
Exactly.
I love when you bring this topic up to people and they offer a slew of other options. It could be condensation. It could be release of gas. But then you go, well, could it be, what was the term that you called?
Aluminum oxide.
Yeah, they go, no, that's crazy. That's conspiracy theory. But you don't actually have a factual basis to counter that argument other than to say it's a conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
My dad's Instagram account has more photos of chemtrails than it does his grandchildren, his wife, his dog. My dad is obsessed to the point where we drove back to New Jersey last summer and he was driving and I look over and he's taking photos while driving of chemtrails. And I go, Pop, pay attention to the road. But he has been on this forever. And it's so weird. The amount of anger that he gets from other people when he posts photos of the chemtrails online. And he just goes, does anybody know what this is? And people go, conspiracy theory, tinfoil hat guy. Like that, that counter argument, they don't actually have an argument for it other than your conspiracy theory.
It's literally a chemical trail. I mean, in as much as when you drive your car, the exhaust is a chemical trail. Vessels crossing the ocean, it emits a chemical trail. Why would a plane combusting, gas in the sky leave anything but a chemical trail? It's a chemical trail. Not to be confused with cloud seeding, because a lot of people confuse the plane exhaust, whatever you want to call it, with cloud seeding, which they've now admitted they're doing as well. So
Right.
I don't know what the conspiracy is, whether or not it's happening, we see it, whether or not it's deliberate.
And what's the
what's the consequence?
There was just a
what's the
video of a plane. I forget where it was taking off, somewhere in like Malaysia or something like that, where they said that as the plane was taking off, it accidentally activated the chemtrail thing on the ground rather than up in the sky.
Oh, shoot.
And both engines underneath it just start pumping out all this white fog all over the runway.
Well, that's condensation.
Yeah, and of course they were
that's
saying, like,
condensation
no,
in
it's
Malaysia.
like the fire suppression thing got activated and it just sprayed a bunch of like. Okay, but that's not a good explanation.
No, I don't believe
planes
that.
shouldn't do that. Why is there a feature on the plane that can do that?
No, to put out an engine
doesn't make
fire. I mean,
sense.
I guess
Yeah.
What makes me suspect, I have a friend becoming a pilot right now over at the airport over here that's like 10 minutes away, which he told me, by the way, 9/11 terrorist trained there.
I was gonna make that joke, but I didn't know
No,
if it
go
was
It was
for
right
it.
down the street. It's crazy. His uncle also sold him a truck. Anyway, we're not going to get into that. So look, in pilot school, they're teaching him it's just condensation. It's just because they're up high and it's the air. That's what takes place. But you look up at all the planes, they're not all doing it.
the idea to write off that there would be chemicals in the trail is itself pretty stupid. But what was the connection that Prince had to chemtrails? And people, am I misremembering history where there was a theory that Prince died or was died after having
Died.
exposed the chemtrail conspiracy?
Mandela effect?
Well,
You'll-
or I just actually just making
I'm
this
not-
up.
There's
Something lost.
April 28th. I don't know enough, but there's a Rolling Stone article, April 28th of 2009. Prince does rare TV interview, talks Obama chemtrails on PBS.
Okay, dude, I see. I'm
Wow.
not. What year is that?
2009.
2009.
And then he died
This is
shortly
like,
after.
imagine trying to remember news that you learned before you were aware of the story.
Yeah,
well, not
yeah.
like, not that
Sorry.
I believe that. I don't know. I'll have to go read that article.
With Rob's dad, like you were saying, we'd probably have to go back to someone from his generation or earlier to figure out if this has always been the case, because I've never seen a sky that didn't have chemtrails in it. Because it's been that way my whole life, probably been that way your whole life, Rob.
That's an interesting point. I've always wondered what the fascination was with the
Yeah.
chemtrails with my dad, because it's not like he goes down all these rabbit holes. Yeah, sometimes he'll see a person wearing a mask and he'll go, bah, sheep. Like he
That's
does
fine,
act
though. That's
ridiculous sometimes.
fine.
But like that's it. Because he lived in a world, much like Daniel. I lived in a world pre 9/11. He never lived in that. My dad lived in a world where maybe there were no chemtrails. There weren't the skies like this. Because he does say, I've never seen so many clouds like this before.
Hence the allegedly effort to make sure that all the old videos reflect it. And I'm curious about who remembers, who is alive today that remembers there being no chemtrails in the sky. Is there anybody left?
My Nana is the ultimate conspiracy theorist. She's probably watching the episode. Shout out Nana, Susan.
Nana, Susan, what up?
She's she was pretty much speaking to me about all this stuff in the womb. She remembers a time when there was no chemtrails, and she freaks out every time she's.
Well,
How are they going to go though? How are they going to go? Even if they go back and re-edit old versions, people have got digital copies up the wazoo, DVDs, stored versions.
Think about
they're trying to switch everything to streaming. Which
Think about
is
the
what
effort to crack down on physical media.
Right.
I couldn't tell you the last time I bought a DVD.
Right.
I couldn't tell you the last time that I bought a CD or owned physical copies of music. That's why they want books to be all digital as well, because it makes it so much easier to go back and correct these things. Why is it borderline impossible to find a cut of the original Star Wars movie where Han shoots first? That's how it always was supposed to be. In the iconic scene in the bar where Han and Greedo are shooting at each other, Han shot first originally. Then George Lucas didn't like that because he felt like it made Han look like a bad guy. So in the next edition, they switched it to where Greedo shoots first. And you can no longer find the Han shot first edition of Star Wars. You go
That
buy
was back in the day.
That was back in like the 70s.
So I actually have a clip that's an example, but we don't have that much time. Let's go to the next slide here. This is a most recent example from the movie Red Dawn, where they released the trailer and the flags, they were all Chinese.
Oh, wow.
And then once there was some uproar because China is a big movie.
Of course.
They pay us a lot.
They had to go back and redo the entire ending of the movie.
Yes, and
That
so
is insane.
that makes me think if they are adding the chemtrails, if they'll do a flag, those two things are kind of inconsequential. The Hans shot first. Look, what could they do in the future, especially if everything's being moved to streaming? What do you guys think would be like worst case scenario of something that they could do? This feels like 1984, where they're like, oh, they're changing history in real
Well, this
time.
is Bolshevism of editing people out of pictures with Joseph Stalin after he's had them killed.
Yeah.
This is
Tearing down statues and
exactly.
destroying the history.
erasing history and recreating it, and they've never had this kind of ability before, to where not only can they change the record, like if you read 1984, Winston Smith works in the department that alters old newspaper clippings.
Yep.
And there's a whole thing he goes into talking about how they know no one's ever going to go look at the archive, but they're adjusting the archive because it helps create the narrative moving forward. But who's going to pull up an old newspaper clip? Nobody did that at that point. But now, if they're able to do that in real time with a movie that you're
Right.
watching, they put out a movie in 2020 that says some inconvenient, incorrect fact about COVID, and you go back in 2027 and try to rewatch it, and they have changed that AI dupe of the actor's voice, recutting footage, and they don't announce it. There's no change log for these things. It's just you live in the eternal present of it was always this way. Things have always been.
And not just that,
this
but if
way.
you see the original and then someone's going to say, well, that one is the one that was digitally altered.
Right.
In as much as the technology gets good to do these types of stealth, post facto edits, it becomes more difficult to get all of the copies. But then even if you find an original cached version, people are just going to say that's the fake one.
Of course.
It is. What's the easiest one? Trump never got shot in the ear. Piece of broken glass.
Right.
And then just memory hole it and downplay it.
And films are now being made right to stream. They're not even being produced.
Yeah,
in a
you're not-
physical way.
there's
So
no-
they just press update and
The Red Dawn example actually was interesting, not from the erasing history, but from showing the influence that China has over
Right.
Hollywood.
Oh,
We're
hell
like,
yeah.
that was a little bit too close to making us look bad, so go back and
They
reshoot
did it to
it.
Top
time.
Gun Maverick as well. In the original trailer, Maverick had patches all over his jacket of places he's flown. They had the Chinese flag on there, and they didn't like that. So they went back and cut the patch out of every scene in which he's wearing the jacket
Insane.
to avoid pissing off the Chinese.
I mean, remember when John Cena apologized in Mandarin to the
I was
Chinese?
like, what the hell is he doing? He's like, I was like, is that really
Did
him?
anybody else get followed by John Cena on Twitter?
No.
I did not.
I got followed by him out of the blue. I was like, what the hell is going on? Now I think the Chinese government is following.
They're coming after you. They love your hair, too.
John Gina.
It's so funny. But yeah, dude, listen, there's something to I saw, and by the way, I've been seeing a bunch of those videos where it's not one trail. It's like the sky is blanketed. There's
like a
guys
grid.
recording it. It's like, listen, you can't lie to what we're seeing. And if that thing is coming down on us.
It comes down for sure. I was in northwestern Florida, and I looked up at the sky. I'm not trying to sound like crazy, but it was a tic-tac-toe sign in the sky, and I was booking a reservation a little bit further up in the Wiki-Washi River.
Yeah.
And I'm talking to the woman on the phone. I was like, dude, look up at the sky. There's a tic-tac-toe sign in the sky. And then she looked up from the different angles, like, holy cow, that's cool.
Oh, weird.
It's there. The only question is, what is it, and is it bad for
And what is listen, anything that's coming out of an airplane's engine isn't organic, number one.
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking, bro, if you think about it, cancer is up. Besides COVID and all that other stuff, cancer is up. People are dying younger. People are getting sicker. Autism is up. It's almost as if they're spraying us, bro, to keep us dying young, keep us bro, we talk about this all the time. The World Health Economic Forum, all those WEF, Klaus Schwab, and all those Bill Gates, dude, there's too many of us. For you, how many more times are they going to have to say, there's too many of you, we want to get rid of at least a third of the population, until we start going, you know what? Maybe they're serious.
Right.
Maybe they're big. Guys, anybody that has that accent, I've been saying this for a year. Anybody that's like, we want the COVID-19, the virus, those guys, I don't trust. They're the bad guy in every James Bond movie.
Well, there is an actual history to the Nazis that were defeated after World War II, having infiltrated the FBI, the CIA, and Western
sure.
societies.
For sure.
Klaus Schwab is a literal descendant of.
Wasn't he a part of it as a kid?
There's
That was Soros.
Soros.
Well,
Oh,
no,
okay,
Soros
my
is
bad.
part of it. There is disputes on fact-checking sources as to whether or not Klaus Schwab is actually the descendant or affiliated with
Listen,
Nazis.
I'm telling you right now, when George
That accent.
Soros passes, I'm telling you right now, because people are like, what's he gonna do in the afterlife? He's gonna be the guy that when you get to hell, if you go to hell, that's the first guy that you see there with a checklist. That's like, okay, he's good. That guy's gonna be in hell.
Yeah.
For what
But-
he's done.
But
If he doesn't repent, if he doesn't ask God and means it, at some point before he dies, no, Rob, it's not gonna happen. If he doesn't, your fate is doomed, homeboy.
He's in hell right now.
Right.
What could be a greater hell than being captive on this earth? Like he's hated by the people.
Yeah.
He can only live in his silo of
Yeah.
protection and equally disgusting humans.
Yeah.
He's in hell on earth.
Yeah, and his spawn is disgusting.
Oh God! Who just married Huma Abedin?
Whatever's going on up in the sky that they're spraying out of planes, that's a question worth asking. And anyone who tells you it's not is being willfully ignorant or deliberately helping to cover things up. Because I don't know much about what comes out of planes. I don't know much about airplane emissions. I don't know much about jet fuel, aside from the fact that it can't melt steel beams.
Yep.
But I do know that whatever is coming out of a plane is probably not something you should be inhaling and having all over your food.
Yeah.
So
Weird.
the fact that they want to make it, again, sell you the idea that it was always this way. It has never not been this way. That's among the most evil things they could possibly do.
I agree. What's up, everybody? Vincent O'Shaughnessy here. If you want to see me and the entire Valuetainment crew, we will be at the Vault Conference September 4th through the 7th at the Palm Beach Convention Center, hosted by none other than Patrick Bet-David and featuring Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Guys, this is the place to be. If you are an entrepreneur and you want to level up, do not miss this opportunity. This is the best place to network. If you want tickets, go to thevaultconference.com. Do not waste time. This thing is going to sell out, and I will see you guys there. Peace and love. So if you like this clip, click right here. And if you want to see more like it, click right here. Stay angry, Patriots.